and welcome to this Telit webinar, Understanding the Diversity of 5G Connectivity Plans for IoT Verticals. I'm Amanda Flink, Head of Global Events here at Telit, and I will be moderating today's event. To explain this topic, I'm pleased to be joined by Scott Ellis, the VP of Connectivity Sales Americas at Telit. Today, Scott will be covering how IoT is transforming solutions across industries, how IoT is powering SmartX and its fundamental components, and the critical success factors of SmartX for verticals, including smart energy, smart home, and connected healthcare. Just before I hand it over to Scott to start the presentation, a quick reminder for our audience. I would like to encourage you all to check out the resources section in the upper right-hand corner of your screen for additional information on today's topic. Finally, we will send out the replay link to all attendees at the conclusion of the webinar. And with that, Scott, I'll hand it to you.
We're going to talk this morning a little bit about the diversity of 5G connectivity plans and a few verticals. I think everyone would agree that the IoT world is evolving rapidly. Solution ecosystems which form in traditional industry segments have not been sufficient to sustain the pull from certain markets. And this is an overview of a few of these markets which have caused application ecosystems to cluster for solutions. So I'll share Telit's perspective on the dynamic movement known as SmartX. So looking at SmartX, what is the world of SmartX? We've all heard of the smart home, smart city, and other smart spaces. While mostly created and used loosely and ad hoc, SmartX has been elevated by market analysts and industry experts as a market movement with a vision to bring about change and acceleration to the evolution that in the way that we as a society live, work, and take care of ourselves, our environment, and make or grow the things that we need. The SmartX movement that we are examining here today accomplished this vision with a simple directive. Think digital first and make it absolutely connected. That requires that for any SmartX space, the entire solution ecosystem be captured digitally, meaning that whatever benefit is being derived is derived from integrated data networks, including sensors, data transport, storage, analysis, and other systems ending in either at a user app or in a lot of cases now a machine or a device. By absolutely connected, SmartX proponents mean that each component, however small in the solution chain, is networked in the system. This requirement elevates the well-understood digital twin concept to smart digital reality, which in turn enables the digital transformation of an inefficient systems that cities, home, and health and other areas are looking to make smart. So by their very nature of being ingrained in our lives, industry, and commerce, and being riddled with legacy systems and processes in operation for decades, if not centuries, certain areas have first surfaced as drivers of this SmartX movement. Not by organizing industry and associations, but by creating a clear and impactful message of demand that has resonated in each case across clusters of verticals. And some of those are shown here. Plagued by globally aging infrastructure and a rising inability to upgrade due to increasingly stricter regulatory climates, energy and utilities are among the first SmartX areas with a solution ecosystem that has been in constant evolution for the better part of 2 decades. While everything new added to distribution and generation grids now incorporates the latest technology, utilities have been reaching to the smart energy and the smart utility ecosystems for solutions to improve efficiency, resilience, and reliability of infrastructure sections which can reach the century mark or older. With cities becoming a home for the majority of the planet's population, the need is there to make cities more efficient, more comfortable, safer, and more convenient for residents and visitors. Similar drivers of material economic power, such as the aging population for smart health and demand for more food for smart agriculture. The 2020 World Economic Forum discussed the Industrial Revolution 4, or IR4, as a global economic growth engine for the coming decades, and the smart factory movement, also known as Industry 4.0, or now IR4, will single-handedly touch all of our lives with unprecedented productivity gains, raising the quality of life at a global scale. So when we look at how IoT is kind of powering this smart X movement, some of the key components are discussed here. Analyst firm Beecham Research explores the anatomy of digital-first and absolutely connected space of smart X in 4 distinct technology areas. The edge hardware, where sensors, actuators, and devices leverage the data networking capabilities of a modular gateway. These in turn exchange edge data over a wide area network, generally taken to be ubiquitous and wireless, ergo cellular. Beyond that, the data is processed by middleware and platforms, stored for analysis in the 3rd solution layer of the software and cloud. And finally, in the 4th layer, the data that is in processed is integrated and analyzed and used interactively to power applications and services. And these produce things like location tracking services, predictive maintenance, and smarter cities. All the while, maintaining end-to-end security is critically important. So if we move into some of the detail on powering SmartX with cellular connectivity for smart cities and public safety, we can explore a little more in depth in this category. The smart city movement is one of the original SmartX categories, tracked by Machina Research since around 2015. At that time, the firm estimated that this sector had around 168 million connections. In a recent report, they forecast smart cities to grow at 25% compound annual growth rate through 2025, when the sector will reach around 1.6 billion connections, or about 10x growth in around 10 years' time. Machina sees the ecosystem comprised of 3 solution areas: smart city applications like street lighting, water and parking; key city operations, which touch smart city applications and include monitoring, reporting, and sustainability; and then finally, citizen services rounds out the solution area, addressing emergency services, public Wi-Fi, and participatory budgeting, among others. In this ecosystem, Telecrete contributes modules, data plans, and platform services to providers in a wide variety of areas, including waste management, emergency response and services, digital signage, ride sharing, and others. And I think most of us that have been around for any period of time agree that these are key verticals with massive traction in the space. So when we look at and consider some of the key factors for success when we incorporate cellular connectivity into these kinds of applications, we've noted a few that are very key and critically important to the success of applications in this space. So redundancy factors to shore up service interruption and resilience. Of course, when we're talking about smart cities and infrastructure, they're mission critical, and any downtime is extremely bad and negatively impacts our everyday life. So scalability is also extremely important. We're typically talking about hundreds of thousands or millions of things getting connected, not hundreds or thousands like some applications. A single pane of glass connectivity management tool that gives me the ability to look into and manage a disparate set of systems in a smart city. I mean, the requirements for a connected parking meter are far different from a security application, which are far different from a smart building, HVAC control, lighting, and these kinds of things. So having the ability to not only scale, but incorporate many different types of solutions into a single platform for management and monitoring are extremely important. The ability to adapt the billing needs to a city or government model. Traditionally, we bill data plans and these kinds of things on a monthly basis, but As some of you might be familiar, government entities often require annualized billing or quarterly billing, and that's not traditional. So adapting to those models is very important. Role-based management, of course, so that I can assign different folks the ability to look into different parts of the system and only see what's important or authorized for them. Service level agreements based on technical support, again, to troubleshoot and minimize downtime to maintain these services. And then, of course, smart connection management tools with such a wide variety of applications and services being supported. We have to be very adaptable to accommodate all those different kinds of connections and requirements and needs for these different solution use cases. So moving on to the next category, we'll see some similar things, but also some that are very different. The smart home ecosystem, for example, is comprised of solution areas in smart appliances, utility management, smart metering, security, safety, and wellness monitoring. In a recent report, Gartner Research estimated that during the next 5 years, there will be more than 20 billion IoT connections by smart home devices. They expect that the proliferation of IoT and connected home devices will have a big impact on new support services, risk putting a huge burden on enterprise IT organizations. These challenges include significant data collection, data management, and analysis responsibility and networking support, and also, additional safety and security safeguards. Intel has been a traditional and long-standing module vendor in this space, having maintained about 70% market share in the commercial alarm and surveillance OEM market for several years. And so through that experience, we have put together a short list of key success factors in this space that we see as really important. You'll see some that are similar, some that are very different. That single pane of glass is still extremely important. The disparate use cases for security and wellness monitoring and appliance monitoring call for interoperability of devices, as well as an easy-to-use interface that allows me to manage a very disparate set of applications. Security is also, ever more important, and we're going to continue to hear security going forward because we've traditionally not done the best job of securing our connected things, but in recent years we've taken more notice and done a much better job and incorporated security all around. The ability to scale, again, with high volume, potential for incorporating these things into our everyday lives, expanding product portfolios with multiple vertical applications. So, when I set up a smart home system, I may choose solution A, a smart appliance type solution today, and then a couple years from now I might want to incorporate security or utility or wellness management. And having to start over or incorporate another system or log into another portal is prohibitive to adoption. So making sure that we can build customer loyalty and strengthen those relationships by connecting a wide variety of things through a single interface, a single port of entry, is very important to the success of incorporating cellular in these type of applications. When we look at the next category of transport systems, intelligent transport systems have been a major adopter of IoT for decades. I can remember offering machine-to-machine solutions for telematics as early as 2005, which is now over 15 years ago. And the telematics space was not new, right? It's been around for more than 20 years. Research firm McKinsey sees the ecosystem comprised of 6 major areas. Represented here on the screen: eCall, emergency call service for vehicle occupants to call for help in roadside emergency situations, is largely government and regulatory-driven application area in which it's still incipient globally, despite being, again, more than 20 years old. I think we all are familiar with OnStar type services, and while these have been adopted in Western nations, or North America and Europe, quite well, they're still gaining traction or lacking mass adoption in many of the developing areas of the world because of a lack of consistency with regulatory requirements and these kinds of things. Usage-based insurance and claim management have enjoyed strong growth in both of those markets as well, running at approximately 36% compound annual growth rate. Traffic flow optimization, which is part of smart cities, and then the last one being the value-added services, so additional connected car applications, including fleet management, which we already mentioned, in-vehicle entertainment, which is still growing, anti-theft, vehicle diagnostics, navigation. All of these are going to continue to grow at a very fast pace, approximately 30% compound annual growth rate. So, ensuring success in these categories, we consider incorporating cellular and some of the success factors that go along with them. And we see many of the same factors that we have in others, but easy to understand ROI is also critically important to get adoption rates much higher. Scalability, again, we're talking millions of endpoints or at least hundreds of thousands, not hundreds or tens of thousands. Role-based management is still very important. That single pane of glass, again, a disparate, very wide variety of applications being supported through our systems. It's important that we not require System A for video surveillance, System B for usage-based insurance, and System C for some sort of claim management or traffic flow systems. Redundancy, again, critically important. Role-based management, again, still very important. Audit trail for troubleshooting and determining where breakdowns occur, extremely important for the success in this particular segment. Moving over to smart energy and utilities and considering how we integrate cellular here. According to Accenture, the smart energy and smart utility ecosystems are characterized by a matrix where application areas may span from 1 to 3 dimensions: supply, network, and retail. We've represented those on this slide. In its Mobile Economy 2019 report, the GSMA Intelligence estimates that cellular technologies like 5G and IoT will contribute 1.6 billion new connections to smart utilities alone by 2025. So exponential growth is happening. It has been in this smart energy ecosystem since the early 2000s, when we provided technology design expertise and products alongside IBM and other partners for an over-the-glass smart metering monitor to Enel, one of the pioneering smart metering projects in Europe. So it was quite the project and experiment, and mass adoption happened, and the uptick continues. Today we're continuing to work with landmark ecosystem brands to continue driving solutions that improve productivity, efficiency, sustainability, and consumer satisfaction. And when we consider the vast reach of this space, it truly touches all of our lives at some point, either through home, work, or in the supply chains of the products we buy. We truly are seeing the adoption reach every facet of life, and it only continues to grow. So when we look at success factors in this segment, again, we see many of the same things, but when you consider, again, the vast variety of touch points, applications, and services that go into serving some of these spaces, we see a lot of the same success factors that we have in the past, but then also some different ones. Adaptability of billing requirements becomes, again, critically important. The audit trail, role-based management, you consider a retail tracking application that monitors, the temperature of food through the supply chain, very different than what a field worker needs to manage his application on a tablet or a lone worker safety solution. Intelligent grid operations, dramatically different than either of the other examples that I gave. So having the ability to scale, having the ability to adapt, not only billing, but the management and role-based associated with, monitoring different levels and different roles is critically important. Looking at the healthcare segment, we see some different but also some same requirements identified by Intiv as one of the top 3 verticals in 5G. Smart healthcare is likely to explode in growth and relevance as the world shifts into recovery mode from the current public health crisis. And according to a recent study by Cisco, 20% of respondents identified healthcare as the economic sector where 5G will cause the most disruption. Analyst firm Berg Insight estimates that more than 45 million cellular IoT modules will be shipped to connect healthcare devices in 2023, and that's up from just shy of 11 million devices in 2019. So more than tripling the market in just 4 years' time. Just exponential growth happening here. In the smart healthcare ecosystem, Berg Insight identifies a spectrum line that we represented on the slide here that goes from pure B2B to B2C, along which application areas are placed for healthcare professionals, inpatient monitoring, remote patient monitoring, assisted living and tracking, and personal wellness. Telit has contributed products and services to major brands in this ecosystem, helping customers and partners with offerings that exceed stringent quality requirements by leveraging the company's extensive experience with regulatory compliance to bring smart healthcare solutions to markets around the globe. Some examples here, glucose meters, medication adherence, respiratory care, and general home wellness. And, the challenges associated with delivering these kinds of solutions can't be understated, regardless of the technology used to deliver them to the market. Regulatory compliance in the U.S. alone, FDA approval can take 2 years. So by the time we get a product certified and approved, the technology advances that happen in 2 years' time can leave a solution behind. So when we talk about incorporating cellular into these types of things and the success factors that go into them, this is one of the key considerations. Being hardware agnostic and flexible to integrate new products quickly is very important because, based on the amount of time that it takes to deliver these solutions to the marketplace, we have to be very nimble and, smart about how we incorporate the connectivity element into our solutions so that we can make adjustments over time without starting the entire process over. A single platform is, again, important to maintain different aged devices, different categories of things, having relationships with monitoring centers that are responsible for the protection of this data, which is very private, is critically important. And so being simple to deploy and install by end users, again, you're dealing with consumers at their home in many cases. And so, high churn mitigation techniques and customer retention programs based on product education are critically important. So being flexible and adaptable to incorporate all of these things is a huge consideration when considering this space. So where do you find Telit involved in this space? The components that make this up, as we covered at the beginning, some research from Beecham, Cisco, Microsoft, and Capgemini, and others over several years spent surveying the industry to identify challenges for these solutions. It turns out that the level of complexity for each of these 4 technology areas makes achieving a solution that's both reliable and scales well extremely hard to do. We've understood this for a number of years, and since 2011, we've been architecting offerings from our corporate assets, both created and acquired. So starting with cellular modules on the far left, today, Telit's able to deliver products and services across the first 3 technology layers, significantly hardening solutions with elements designed to work together at no cost to functionality and flexibility. Ooh, sorry, my slide didn't advance. When we take the next step and we look at edge hardware being the foundation of digital first and absolutely connected, the streamlining that happens in this layer of the solution pays dividends forward in the simplification of the entire solution. New business models in practice now package the cellular module with the requisite components in the next 2 layers, including connectivity plans either through traditional SIM cards or over iSIM with SIMWise and our OneEdge services. Our secure embedded software platforms are capable of integrating with systems like Microsoft Azure, AWS, and a variety of other application and service systems. And so regardless of your solution type, there are many factors to consider when incorporating cellular into your design. And we urge you to consider your options carefully. Speak with a variety of providers to find one you can work with, not only for your current plan, but for future growth as well. We do offer trial SIM cards and welcome the opportunity to discuss your needs and serve you. So feel free to connect with us at telit.com, reach out, and we'll be happy to help.
Thanks, Scott. I believe that's all the time we have for today. As Scott mentioned, you're welcome to visit us at contact.telit.com/IoT connectivity trial for more information. Also, please be sure to check out your inboxes in the coming days for the replay link. Thank you again, Scott, and a big thanks to all who joined us today.